Hey, what's up everybody? It's Steve here, and first I want to welcome you guys back to the channel and appreciate you guys having some patience and waiting on me to get some content out there. So anyway, glad you're back, glad I'm back. So as you can see behind me today, I think the plan is I'm going to work on the 68 Fastback. So in the last video, or the last time you guys saw me work on this, I was able to get the rear quarter panel fit on this passenger side. So I've got it fitting pretty well. I had said before in the last video, I had to stop because I didn't have a couple of components. I actually got those parts in. I ended up reordering those from a different company. But anyway, I've got those. So I think I'm going to continue with the rear section of the car. So I think first, if you guys remember, I used the roof structure off of an actual 68 Fastback and I set it down on the coupe tub. And as you can see up high, I have a bunch of clamps that are still in place. So the first thing I want to do is I've got a bunch of self-tapping screws that I use to put these together. I'm going to go in and I'm going to fasten all of that structure in place with these screws so I can start removing some of the clamps. Once I'm done there, I think I'll jump over and I'm going to start fitting the rear quarter panel. So anyway, just want to tell you guys thanks again for tuning in, and I'm going to get the camera set up and start rolling the film. So I'll see you guys after a bit. Okay, now that I have that top roof structure locked pretty much into place, and it's starting to get, it's somewhat has solidified, even though the back of this structure, this is what Ford used back in the day, and these are pretty ragtag looking brackets, but they made these brackets and basically they weld to the trunk floor to hold this rear section. I'm going to get this quarter panel locked into place before I set these, and then I think once those are set and locked into place, I'm going to go ahead and weld out the structure. The next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to prep this side of the vehicle for the quarter panel. So if you guys will remember, I got rid of this piece on the other side because there's a new piece that is on the new quarter panel. So I'm going to go ahead and get the quarter panel and get some trimming done here. The taillight panel, since I have the new one, I think I'm going to go ahead and start cutting the taillight panel off, because my fear was I wanted to leave the panel in to lock everything in, but with these B-pillars locked into place, I'm pretty comfortable with where those things are at. So also, I'm going to do a little extra over here. I'm going to go ahead and get the trunk drop-off extension piece. I'm going to get it trimmed and cut into place and get it tacked and set into screws here. Screwed into place here. So I can get this side fit up, and then once I get this quarter, then I'll move back to the rear section. So I'll set the cameras up. I'm going to let them roll for a while, and I'll cut back in later on if I run across something that's interesting. So we'll see you guys after a bit. Okay, as you can see, I got the driver's side quarter panel fit up, and much like the passenger side, I really like the way this thing fit up. It fit really good to the B-pillar. The wing, actually this vent area up here, it all fit in really within the channel that's in the top. So I really feel like these are the quarter panels. I'm pretty happy with where they are at as far as location. Now, I still have a lot of work to do on the car to get everything tucked up and tightened up before I start welding. So, and every time I put a piece on, things could very well change. So I think the next step is this taillight panel. As you can see, I got the old one cut out. Now, this is going to be an Eleanor car, and these taillight panels are different. If you look at the car, they use I believe it's a Cougar style taillight, and they do nowadays they actually repop the taillight panel that already is set to accept those Cougar style taillights, so you don't have to mold the fiberglass piece in here. Now, never done this before, so this is pretty much just what I've been told by people that have. So anyway, I think the next step for me is, like I said, I'm going to get the taillight panel. Hopefully it all fits good. I also have this deck filler piece here. This is going to tell me a lot once I get this put across to see how everything fits. And I might end up putting some screws up here in the back glass area so I can pre-fit the back glass that goes in here. So anyway, I'm going to keep the cameras on and let it roll, and we'll see how far we get today. Okay, it has been a very productive day. So as you can see, we'll get a little closer look at this. I'll turn the camera around here in just a second, but I've got the rear section of this thing, I think, looking pretty good. I'm pretty pleased with the way it's going together. So I'm going to flip the camera and we'll walk around and I'll talk about some of the areas of concern. So anyway, give me just a second and I'll get right back with you. All right, we'll start with the passenger side quarter panel. On the quarter panels, there's really not much. That they went on pretty good. As I keep preaching, I left these B pillars. Now, I'm gonna have a little work to do there, and I may end up changing those B pillars out. I didn't want to move those for now, so it locked everything together. Now, moving around to the back, the tail light assembly seemed to go in pretty good. Now, these clusters of vice grips, those are the trunk gutters, and those little pieces don't fit the best in the world. So I will end up working those down. Those will be one of the last things that go in. But one of the other areas is on this sail panel. I've got a fairly good gap, and I'm gonna have to rig up some kind of a clamp on both sides of this. Not to mention the fact that once I try to weld that, it's going to be a little bit tricky, but it's doable. So also on the, let's see if I can get the camera in here. On the passenger side, this bumper bracket seems to be a little bit far backwards. So I may end up having to cut this off and slide it back. Unfortunately, it's only going to be roughly about 1/4 of an inch. But anyway, everything else seems to be pretty good. This little spot right here, I'll end up cutting this and shaping this a little bit different. The other side fit really, really good. I'm very pleased with how this car is fit together. Driver's side quarter panel, much the same. It fit really, really good up to the rocker. It fit good onto the B pillar. And, you know, it also fit really good up on the roof structure. So the only thing that I will say on these quarter panels, so if we can get in here and look, you can kind of see where the quarter panel is fluted out just a little bit. So I'm going to end up reshaping that just a little bit to pull this back into the rocker. Not a big deal. So I am very pleased with the way this car has went together so far. A lot of cutting and trimming. I still have a lot of stuff to fit into this thing. But anyway, for spending the better part of a day messing with this thing, it went together fairly simple. So I am going to have, I've got to get a deck lid. Like I said, this is an Eleanor conversion, tribute, whatever you want to call it. And I'm going to have to look and find an Eleanor kit. And there's some out there, but trying to find the right one that fits well is going to be the trick. So, especially given the fact that I've never built one. But anyway, I think I'm going to call it an evening and let you guys have it. So I appreciate you guys tuning in, and I will see you guys back here later. Hey, good morning, everybody. It's Steve here. I'm back at it. And yesterday I was working on the 68 Mustang, and I did tell you guys in my last video that I was going to be very, very close to the first initial startup on Kevin's C-10. And I was able to get his engine started, and it sounds really, really good. And I will play that video clip for you guys here just shortly. It's not a very long run video. I think it's probably about 38 seconds. But anyway, do have it running. Still got a ton of work to do. But I'll briefly kind of talk about what I had to do. I went to start it. I was going to start filming the entire startup process, and something just didn't. When I first started trying to start it, it'd crank and it'd act like it would hit, and then you'd have to cycle the key and it'd want to crank again. Well, if you notice, the intake that I used, the sheet metal intake, it used basically a 4th generation, or I'm going to just say an LS3 style map sensor, and the wiring harness was pre 4th gen, so it was set up to be a 3rd gen, so it used an earlier style map sensor. Well, I basically just used the right map sensor. I got an adapter from Amazon and plugged it in, thought everything was going to be kosher. Well, I messed with it and never could get it to work. I grabbed my laptop, hooked up HP tuners, and I started putting a data log on it, started checking sensors, made sure it was seeing RPM. Everything seemed to be great. Long story short, the map sensor was reading like 18, which pretty much says it's not actually on. It's way below what it should see. So anyway, I unplugged the LS3 and just plugged another one in. I didn't have it hooked to the intake. Cranked it up and it busted right off. So lesson here was the pinouts on those map sensors are different. So I had to actually repin my adapter. Once I did that, the thing started up and it ran great. And I'll play the clip now, and hopefully you guys enjoy. It's not the quality, the sound is a little muffled, but the thing sounds awesome in real life. So anyway, here you go. Hope you enjoy. I'll be back in just a little bit. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed that. So real quick, I don't know how much I'm gonna actually work on Kevin's truck. I've got some stuff in the back that I want to do today. Don't think I'll work on the Mustang, but there are some pretty cool things that's happening to the shop, and I'm gonna go back here in the back and I'm gonna show you guys exactly what I'm talking about. So come along, let's go look at it. Okay, we'll start with this piece. This is, as you can tell, this is a Ford FE engine, or maybe you can, but this is started as a 427 cubic inch block. It has been bored and stroked to 482 or 85 cubic inches. This thing has roller cam. It's pretty much modernized. It's got aluminum heads. And don't get your hopes up, because that is not what's going in the Mustang. So now that we've seen that, let's look back here and see what we're going to work on today. This is a 1966 Galaxy 500. And once again, as you can see, it does have a rather large engine in it. The engine that's in this car is a 428. That engine's coming out, and we're going to put the other engine in. And if we'll look behind me, I have a large bin full of parts. This thing's going to get fuel injected, also a 3-inch stainless steel exhaust system. So this car is a factory 4-speed car. I think the car has some fairly rare options. This is a good friend of mine. It belongs to his father. He's an older gentleman. Also, I would like to note he is a United States Army veteran. I think he served in the 101st Airborne Division. So anyway, it's an honor to work on this car. But anyway, the next thing is this. This is a brand new 1969 Camaro body. We have been waiting on this body for about 18 months. And that, understandably, I still have a ton of work to do on other cars, but anyway, it's here, and probably soon I'll be ordering a chassis for this car and hopefully the engine combination. So anyway, I'm going to get my tools all set up, and I'm going to get started on this 500. I'm going to start pulling this engine out. So anyway, I'll see you guys after a bit. Okay, so I thought I would cut in real quick. For the most part, I've got everything off of the top. I've got everything up here loose, disconnected, laid out of the way, removed, etc. So I think the next step now is I'm going to move the car forward on the 2-post, get it raised up in the air, and I'm going to try to get whatever is left underneath. More than likely, it's just the exhaust. If there's a dust shield, that'll have to come off. Get that, the headers, maybe even the starter. What's funny is I put these headers on this car years ago, and I had kind of forgot about it, but actually, it's well before I started this shop. I went to these folks' house and actually did it in this man's shop. So laid around on jack stands. That was a lot of fun. So that's why I have that. That's why I have that lift. I won't do that anymore. So anyway, I'm going to get it moved forward and get it raised up, get stuff unhooked, and keep pushing on, trying to get this thing pulled. Okay, so I thought I would cut in for just a minute. I pretty much have everything unbolted underneath the car. Everything's loose on top, got the bell housing bolts out. So now I've got the cherry picker sitting here behind me. It's time to try to shoehorn this big boy out of here. So wish me luck, and if all works, then I will see you. I'll jump back on here after it's out. Okay, there it is. I've got the old 428 pulled out. It's sitting right over here on the floor. I got the transmission braced up. So for now, I think I'm going to formulate a plan, because I'm going to try to figure out what all I'm going to do underneath the hood. I'm not going to go. We aren't going to get super crazy with this. This is just a very good driver. And anyway, I've got to get an idea of just how much of this we're going to clean up. I might try to move it outside and pressure wash it, then bring it back in. But also, you guys noticed I did cut the exhaust off this. One of the things that will happen to this car is I will be building a complete 3-inch stainless steel exhaust system all the way out the back of the car. So the other thing is this car will be converted to a fast fuel injection system. So there's going to be a lot more to come on this car, but in the meantime, I think there are a couple of components, other than trying to figure out what I'm going to do under the hood. There are a few things that I have to get for the engine, such as the pilot bearing, and probably a new set of motor mounts. But I think I'm going to call it a day on this one. It took me, roughly about 3 hours to get this thing out, and I think I'm gonna move back up front. First I'm gonna run grab some lunch, and then I'm gonna move back up front because I've got a ton of wiring to do to Kevin's truck still, and I think that's where I'm gonna head next. So anyway, I'll be back shortly. You guys go grab you something to eat or whatever, and I'll see you guys in a little bit. All right, I am back, but we gotta push the rewind button just a little bit. So you guys just saw, I got the engine and everything, all the wiring, all the accessories, everything out of the car. Now that that's done, we need to fast forward because that has been a couple of weeks ago. I had several things come up, had to make a little trip to North Carolina and back, which was very eventful, but that we'll save that for a later date because that's actually a pretty good story. So anyway, I've got the new engine. Before I got the engine set in here, I cleaned the chassis and just use some spray on bed liner coating to cover the chassis to give it a little bit fresher look. I've got the new engine set down in. I had some issues, as you can see. I had to notch the cross member on the bottom for clearance for the oil pan. I still have just a little bit to do for the oil drain plug. I've got a little clearancing to do there. We'll take care of that at a later date. Also, the valve cover up here, I'll see if I can grab the camera and we'll show, but okay, so as you can see, I've got the new engine set in here. See if we can get down in here. You can kind of see the chassis. Just cleaned it up basically. I've got a lot of wiring and stuff I'm gonna clean up. Hoses I'm gonna clean up, but we've got a little bit of clearance issue back there, and as I said earlier, it's the engine it's all there. It is definitely a tight fit. I've got one of the headers back on, but also I've got the fuel tank out. It's over here. I've started adding the sump to the fuel tank, and I will probably do this, finish this out on the next video, but I've got to put a sump on the tank there. So anyway, I think I'm gonna call this video good, and we're gonna wrap this one up, and I'm gonna hopefully start filming the next one. So anyway, I appreciate you guys tuning into the channel. For those of you that are just now stumbling on the channel, I know my content since the start of this year has been very spotty. I haven't been putting out a lot of videos, and there's a good reason for that. But anyway, I hope to continue this. I want to thank you guys again for tuning in. And as I always tell you, I will see you on the next one. Hey, real quick before I go, I'm going to show you guys Kevin's C-10. The last couple of weeks, I've been doing a lot of work on his truck. Unfortunately, once again, a lot of it is just very slow and tedious. A lot of wiring's been going on. But anyway, I'm going to turn the camera around, and I'm going to give you guys an update on the C-10. Okay, we'll start up front. I've got all of the lights in. Got the grill, headlight bezels. If you look, you won't be able to see it because I made a cover for it. This might actually be useless, but behind this cover, there's an MSD relay box. Solid state relay that basically it runs 4 separate components. I hid the wiring for the front clip. I took it down underneath the cab and then brought it into the fender and then brought it through right there. That is about all the wiring you see on the front clip. Also got the belt installed. I have a slight hiccup here with this big throttle body. I've got some clearance issues here, but for the most part, don't pay any attention to the throttle cable. I have to shorten it up to get that whoop-de-doo out of there. But I did convert his radiator hoses and heater hoses to AN fittings, as you can see. I've got the heater hoses in. I'm getting ready to start running the AC lines. The battery cables are all done. Got the cowl on it. Pretty much most of the stuff under the hood. There's only a couple of things under the hood I have to do. One, I'm going to build a custom radiator cap, and of course the air cleaner and the 2 radiator hoses. So we'll move to the inside. I've got the carpet set in here. I've been doing some steaming on it, trying to get it to fit and form better. The dash pad is in. I've got all the headliner trim in it. The instrument cluster, the steering wheel, everything is mounted, installed. All the vintage air is pretty well complete except for one vent that goes over to the driver's side, which will be one of the very last things that goes on. Let's see if I can. The truck's looking very, very good. All the lights work. Got his rear bumper mounted, adjusted. It's all there. But anyway, for those of you that have came over from Kevin's shop, from his channel, probably a lot of people are wanting to see some progress. So here it is. I'm not too far away from. I did the initial startup, and it's pretty much get a couple of things done, and I'm going to basically try to get it back on the lift and finish out the exhaust. I mean, we're getting down to the nitty gritty on it. So anyway, wanted to give you guys a quick update before I cut out. So anyway, I'll see you guys later, and thanks for watching.